I will be comparing the connections between The Complete Mouse and Cry the Beloved Country. The Complete Mouse is a comic book by Art Spiegelman that was the first ever comic book to be awarded the Pulitzer Prize and attracted a multitude of attention from critics everywhere for its minimalistic drawing style and powerful portrayal of an eyewitness Holocaust account. It chronicles the interaction between Arthur and his dad, a Holocaust survivor. Throughout the story, Arthur talks to his dad and piece by piece uncovers the mystery of his dad's internment in Poland. His dad meets his young wife Anja, who he falls in love with, and whose wealthy father funds a textile factory he's always dreamed of. When she falls sick, he takes her to a sanitarium where she recovers, but Art finds his mill vandalized, a foreshadowing of the persecution that him and his wife receive later in the book. He is sent to the forefront of the Polish army, but is captured by the German forces and returned to Poland under German control. After being moved into a ghetto, Art watches his family get deported to all over, and him and Anja escape to a barn where smugglers hand them over to Germans. Arthur is taken to Auschwitz, while Anja is taken to Birkenau, and they barely survive Dachau until separated and unite once again after America's recapturing of Poland. Running alongside this storyline is of Arthur's tense relationship with his dad and guilt and anger directed at him for his probable contribution to his mother's suicide. Cry the Beloved Country also chronicles one father's discovery of the hate and prejudice aimed towards the black people of South Africa and his exploration into the sad conditions and circumstances that have seemed to overtake both white and black. Some small examples of this are in The Complete Mouse, when they were hiding in Anja's father's house on the run, and the housekeeper ran in screaming that they had to leave because the police were coming. Just like in Cry the Beloved Country, the natives set up home in another person's backyard, but, quote, the police came and drove the people away. This is because the people that were originally helping them were no longer comfortable with them and saw them as a threat. Another connection between the two stories is when Mr. Camullo arrives at the bus station and is misled by a young man that promises to buy a ticket out of Johannesburg bus station for him, but robs him of his pound, like when Arthur's father tries to buy a ticket out of Poland and gets duped out of both his money and his freedom. Some bigger and more apparent overlaps are the similar things like the presence of poverty, oppression, and racism. In Cry the Beloved Country, we are shown a desperate shanty town where the houses are, quote, overflowing and no one has room to let. Children are sick with no doctor in sight. Likewise, when the Gestapo come and take everybody away, they force families of 12 to live in, quote, 2.5 small rooms in terrible ghettos. Both stories contain people living in unfavorable conditions, no matter how they got there or who caused it, and it also brings up an idea that overlaps between the two novels, that the little things we take for granted become so precious in their circumstance of poverty. In this story, the Camullo family has to save up for years just to replace robes, quote, green with age and collars, quote, brown with age. In Mouse, people are risking their lives for golden jewelry and, quote, 15 kilos of sugar. This is how desperate this situation is, because he is willing to sacrifice the well-being of his family just to have money to buy food to hopefully keep them alive. This is how poor the situation becomes in both books, and that's even before Vladek was moved into the concentration camp. If poverty is prevalent in both novels, though, oppression and racism is rampant, especially in Mouse. It is more so prevalent in Mouse. In Cry the Beloved Country, the voice of John Camullo cries out saying that the great mines are run by the impoverished, and the mining industry, quote, keeps us poor so that others may stay rich. He speaks out against an oppressive industry, asking for, quote, justice, and pleads the black cause to the people. The Complete Mouse has more obvious signs of rebellion, like when Perseus's wife, instead of going to the gas chambers, decides to poison not only herself, but Vladek's children and her own in order to prevent them from falling into the hands of the oppressive Nazi government. These are just some of the connections I found between Cry the Beloved Country and The Complete Mouse. Thank you.